A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 102nd knowledge sharing session of OHR, which is scheduled for today, Saturday, 17th of September 2022, through an online mode. And the topic for today is psychological safety in the workplace. As we know, our mind governs our body, habits, and decisions. A sound mind also helps us improve better in the workplace. And with this session, we'll be able to understand how to build psychologically safe workplaces and why they are important and its benefits by a trainer, Dr. Rashali Rao. And with this, I request all to please come forward for the prayer and repeat after me. O God,
O God,
bless all with health and wealth,
bless all with health and wealth,
bless all with money and harmony.
bless all with money and harmony.
O God,
O God,
bless all with peace and bliss,
bless all with peace and bliss,
bless all with wisdom and your devotion.
bless all with wisdom and your devotion.
Thank you,
Good.
everyone.
Thank
And
you.
to introduce OHR, we all know by now that it is a legacy which has been running for 8 and more years. And it is overwhelming to see that we have been able to positively influence thousands of HR professionals, and now not only have we become a but trusted name in HR fraternity. And four initiatives of OHR, different ones are firstly, monthly knowledge sharing session, Power Kid Breakfast Series, OHR's PSR People Sustainability Responsibility Program, which has been specifically designed for college students, and wonderful OHR's triple W, WWW, not World Wide Web, but Women with Wings. And with this, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. Dr. Rashali Rao is a seasoned professional with 16 years of work experience in HR, organizational development, and academic. She is a popular writer, and her book, Kam Karancha Mansik Arogya, has been widely accepted. For more than a decade, she has been working on the topic psychological safety in the workplace through her research, writing, and training programs. Before requesting ma'am to please take on the podium, I would like to request everyone to please go on mute throughout the session. And if you have any questions, you can either raise or Rushali ma'am, is it fine to ask questions in between the session?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Yes, thank you. And we would love to see your beautiful faces if the video is on possibly. And if you want to become a part of OHR family, uh, Prashant Officer will be putting in the details how you'll become part of WhatsApp group or the different groups and what benefits can become out of it. And OHR is available on all digital platforms. Without further ado, I request ma'am to please take over the podium.
Thank you so much, Sikriti, for those wonderful words. And let me thank OHR, complete team of OHR, and special thanks to Mr. Prashant Ithafe for giving me opportunity to, express my views on this topic, which is totally new to Indian job market, you can say, or corporate world, private sector, or even the government sector. So, when we talk about the word psychological safety in the workplace, I know it's an alien concept. I mean, even for me also, on working on it, when I started working on my PhD around 2011, I was confused that whatever I'm trying to do, I was not very sure because I was working in IT sector where there are as such no laws are available for occupational health. And when we talk about psychological safety, or recently we have started talking about wellness and well-being in the workplace, people confuse wellness, well-being, and occupational health, because it's very new, and we have started thinking about it during corona itself. When we talk about occupational safety, most of us who are with us today, they are aware about physical safety in the workplaces, because we work with machines. I mean, if you are in IT, then there are no rules for occupational safety as such. But if you work with non-IT sector, where there are machines and large equipments are involved, where chemicals are involved while working in office, there are certain rules by
Hello,
ILO.
madam. Hello.
Yes,
There is
yes.
lot of disturbance. I don't know whether others they are.
No, from my side there is no disturbance.
Sukriti, what about you?
It could be the fan, maybe.
Sorry.
It could be the fan in ma'am's background that could add.
Oh,
Ma'am, if you could wear some headsets, in case that will cancel them.
it's raining also here in my area, so maybe that sound also. Okay, so I was talking about physical safety. So whenever we talk about occupational safety, occupational health, we always talk about physical safety. I mean, how we can be physically safe in environment on whatever machines we are working on. But nobody talk about our psychological safety. So psychological safety means, do you really feel safe when your co-workers are around you? Do you really feel psychologically safe when you interact with your manager? When you go to office, you stay there for 8 to 9 hours, you don't feel threatened. Basically, you don't feel
हॅलो मॅडम, मला
yes.
वाटतं तुम्हाला ते हे घालावं लागेल. मला वाटतं एअर प्लग. कारण मला वाटतं आवाज खूप येतोय. तर मला आता एक इथे चॅट्स मध्ये पण यायला लागले.
Okay.
मे बी फॅनचा किंवा कसला तरी आवाज येत असेल, माहित नाही मला.
पण इथे काहीच नाहीये आता.
मग काय माहित नाही कसला आवाज येतोय माहित नाही, पण खूप ब्रेक होतो आवाज.
आणि माझ्याकडे वायफाय पण चांगला आहे. म्हणजे माझ्याकडे, मी याच्यावर नाहीये, वायफाय वर आहे प्रॉपर.
तुम्ही बोलला की आवाज येतोय.
हेडसेट अगर लगाएंगे तो कैंसिल हो
हेडफोन
जाएंगे वो
हेडफोन लावला तर थोडं मला वाटतं फरक पडू शकतो.
Wait.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Clearly?
Yeah, very clear. Yes.
Okay, great. So,
yes, ma'am. And voice also clear.
Okay, thank you. So, I was talking about workplace safety, where we only have rules by International Labour Organization about physical safety. There is no rule by ILO or even by WHO for psychological safety in the workplace. So what is mean by the very concept of psychological safety in the workplace? So whenever there are two aspects for psychological safety in the workplace. One, building psychologically safe workplaces where people don't feel threatened uh, about their presence, about expressing themselves, like you know whether they come from any part of basic, specifically gender, if we talk about, or if they come any part. I mean, if they belong to any race, like race, religion, or caste, community, they should feel safe. So it should not happen that if I go to some different XYZ region of India or even another part of the world, and I get discriminated based on my Indian nationality, or I may get discriminated like racism or or based on my religion. So that is one thing I should feel safe about, that people should not discriminate based on what I am as a person, what kind of demographic I carry. I come from a city called Nagpur, so people should not say, oh, people are, somebody says, I definitely will feel, not included in that workplace, or, psychologically not safe. Then are relevant opportunities available for me to grow in that organization? Am I allowed to ask questions? Am I allowed to make mistakes? Most important. So making mistake and learning from them should be part of organizational culture that makes it a safe, psychologically safe workplace. Then our employees are engaged in a collaborative way. Are they having mutual collaboration? Are they fostering, or are they involved in constructive debate? There are differences always, but are they constructive? Then there comes as a challenging part, which is, we can say, challenger safety, which is like, am I expressing, or am I allowed to express the idea? Like the OHR is giving me the opportunity to put up my subject, which is relatively new. And except OHR, I haven't come across many HR groups which are, understanding the gravity of this subject and asking people, or allowing me to express myself. So this is something where I feel safe, psychologically feel safe to be myself. I know I have a confidence in OHR team that they will not restrict, madam aapko yahi bolna hai, हेच बोलायचं है, हे बोलू नका, kind of thing. So these are few things which are necessary to feel safe in any organization, very fundamental things. Apart from that, whenever we go to work, we always have wear and tear. I mean, whatever we use, like a machine, our body is a machine. So whenever we go to work, we use our body as well as our mind. So we have wear and tear of body as well as mind. But there are rules for wear and tear of our body. म्हणजे शरीराची झीज होते, मनाची झीज होते, आणि आपण आपलं शरीर आणि मन दोन्हीही कामाच्या ठिकाणी घेऊन जातो. आणि तिथे गेल्यानंतर आपल्याला जसं आपल्याला शारीरिक हालचाली असतात, तसं आपण मनाचे पण चढ उतार असतात, आपल्या भावना दिवसभर वर खाली होत असतात. आणि या भावना, स्पेशली द इमोशन, if we feel continuously under stress in any or in our workplace, wherever we are working, if we feel threatened, if we don't feel comfortable doing our job daily, then we experience automatically negative emotions. We don't have attachment or that kind of commitment towards our workplace. So this is where people are, or this is a typical scenario where people are not psychologically safe. So they experience more negative emotions that affect their body. So this is where the other aspect, which is the corrective aspect of psychological safety. So first is building a psychologically safe workplaces where people should feel safe. They should have, basic facilities. For example, I can see some women, so having posh committee, or having active posh committee in your organization where women employees are there, is very important way of building psychological safety in the workplace. So these are few things, and in my book, I am not sure how many of you have read it, but in my book I have kept a special emphasis on job safety analysis. I have chosen 10 occupations, like people who are in sports, people who are drivers. I mean, there are a lot of incidents in recent past. The driver, because of driver stress or mistakes, people had lost their leave. So there is a special chapter on psychological safety, or job safety for drivers of car like Ola, Uber, as well as truck drivers. Then we have software engineers who are actually in a very safe physical environment, but the way they interact with machines because of their job profile, they eventually develop emotional numbness because they use too much of logic and a little bit of emotion. So that there is another chapter on software engineers also. So today, I have specially invited a person to join this conversation because whatever I am saying is it's new, and as I always say, it affects our public health. So if our workplaces are not safe psychologically and physically, we develop more diseases, various kind of diseases, and we indulge. Of course, we have to take help from medical professionals, and our public health index, which is not really good for India. And then of course it affects the productivity of organization. So everything is interconnected. Our workplaces or unhealthy workplaces or toxic workplaces basically lead to these public health crises. So I have a person today. I requested him to join this conversation specially, and he's an MBBS. He's a physician. He has a PhD from TESS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences and Public Health, and he had read my book and he liked it, the concept, overall concept. So I specially invited him, instead of me doing all the talking. So I request Dr. Sachin Ganorkar, can you please switch on your camera as well as your mic also? Doctor,
Hello,
are you there?
Yeah, Dr. Vrishali. Thank you very much. Can you hear me, Dr. Vrishali?
I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I think I can't start my video. I think the host has stopped the video. The message is coming that the host has stopped the video. I'm trying.
Okay.
1 minute, or let me check. By which name you have joined?
Sachin Ganorkar.
Sachin Ganorkar. I will check. Meanwhile, you can start interacting. No issue.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. And I wanted to thank Dr. Vrishali Raut for inviting me here, and thank you all for your presence. I think my introduction to Dr. Vrishali happened.
Doctor, just 1 minute. Can you again rejoin?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll just
please,
drop out. Just give me a minute.
Because I'm not able to.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
Meanwhile, if you have any question, because I prefer interaction, feel free to ask to Dr. Sachin also, and of course to me also. English, Hindi, Marathi, I can speak in all the languages, and some part of German also now, because I'm learning German. Okay.
Ma'am, if you could teach us how to say hello in German.
Yeah. Yeah. Good evening.
Sachin. Yeah, Dr. Sachin.
Yes. So good evening all. Thank you, Dr. Vrishali. Thank you all the people who are listening to this session. And I think one of my first interactions with Dr. Vrishali happened on Twitter. And I read her book, which is Kamgaran Se Mansik Arogya. And as a physician and as a person who's actually done public health, she has written a very good book. And to encapsulate the kind of wear and tear quotation which she wrote, like Sharirik and Mansik Jhees. So people who understand Marathi here, it's a very significant aspect to talk about in our present scenario. And the kind of life journey which she mentioned earlier in her book, where she had her personal circumstances and the way she her career, and the very important aspect of mental health, which she has spoken about in her book, is a very good book. So I just wanted to compliment her. Because not many people would like to speak about this concept in the work environment. The second thing, I think one of the wonderful things which I just want to start before I start speaking about what Dr. Vishali has mentioned is, I think the different kind of occupations she has mentioned in a book, and she has categorized them into physical and emotional hazards. This even in our context, so I worked with Infosys because I've done health management. Not many people actually look into this factor. And speaking about mental health, because it involves a little bit of stigma, it involves isolation. It also involves a little bit of shame and embarrassment. Maybe I think 10 years back. Now, maybe I think there's a cushion of COVID pandemic and people are more open about it. But still it carries a lot of stigma when you are working in an environment. People might label you, your career progression, your job, etc., might be at risk. So the way I think she has put it, plus I think talking about, I think when she starts her book, she talks about PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. She speaks about burnout. Then I think she mentioned about job safety analysis, where you look at the psychosocial hazards, which are there in the workplace. These are very important factors, and maybe they have not been spoken about. So why it hasn't been spoken about is a mystery in the Indian space. And maybe I think the kind of background in the hospital background where I work, there also there's nothing. So the HR function. So I just wanted to thank the Only HR platform. The HR function is still in a very intermediate or rudimentary phase in the healthcare sector. Unlike if you go to the IT sector, there are still shifts. There is still a kind of a mechanism to deal with a lot of factors. In hospitals, I think getting burnt out is considered to be very good, which actually is not good. So I just wanted to start talking about what Dr. Vrishali mentioned in the book is about psychological safety. And as she started that, if you go to a workplace, I should not feel threatened. That's very important. And I worked in both the places. I worked in a startup and in an established organization. And it is really, if people have experienced both of it, then I understand what she has meant. Because there are some places where you go, where you actually feel scared to actually interact. You are actually differentiated based maybe on your race, religion, gender, caste, class. And sometimes it's a very difficult environment to work in. These kind of environments actually have a huge amount of emotional impact. So maybe it's not factored in right now, but it causes a huge amount of emotional impact for the individual. Psychological safety part is actually it's actually defined as something where you go, where you can interact with your team members without any harm or risk, and you feel very safe to do so. Just to summarize before we start the conversation again, I think there's a lot of evidence which is coming up that your workplace safety or the psychosocial hazards have an impact on your emotional health because it depends upon the context and the content of your work. So the cultures which are very poor in terms of latitude, whether you can make a decision or not, or where your reward risk ratio is very poor, leads to habits. For example, you might keep working for longer hours, or you might start smoking or drinking, or you might lead a sedentary lifestyle. And that leads to something called NCDs, which is non-communicable diseases, both the physical as well as the mental part of it. And India basically loses 60 lakh people every year due to NCDs. Every year, and basically in a very productive age group of 30 to 69 years of age. So what Dr. Vishali, when I read a book, I always wanted to write something on this topic, and maybe I think do something in future when, because right now, to be honest, when I speak about this in my hospital setting, everything is looked in a commercial sense. So to be very honest, like people say that, अच्छा आपको क्यों बात करना है, तुम्हाला कशाला बोलायचं मानसिक आरोग्याबद्दल, ह्याच्याबद्दल बोललं और इसके बारे में हमने बात की, तो it is not, we can look at it later. But if I look at in my colleagues who are suffering from anger management issues, stress, maybe a little bit of loss of self-esteem, I think the kind of platform what she has, the kind of book which she has written, and the kind of platform today we are talking today is a very important platform. So that is what I think I want to start with the discussion. Thank you, Dr. Vrishali, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. It was very insightful, and I hope others are now kind of, sinking in what both of us are trying to make you understand, that if we build better workplaces, workplaces which are safe emotionally and physically, then we can reduce the burden on our public health system. Of course, there are other benefits like productivity will be high, your brand value is high, you have a long-term impact on the engagement level, because if the employee is happy, the family is also happy. Okay, and the environment is also happy wherever he or she resides in. So it's a long-term investment, and if you go by return on investment, then WHO says if you invest $1 in mental health for your workplace, the return on investment is $4. And here, mental health or emotional health does not mean the schizophrenia, bipolar, or other serious mental disorder. Like Dr. Sachin mentioned, they're all about the stress and issues which are byproduct of workplace stress, like anger management or anxiety, addiction, because generally people indulge in addiction to reduce, workplace stress. Like I'm currently, somebody recently told me that his relative is in construction line, is a civil engineer, and so he's just 37 years old, but he is dealing with his liver problem because for last 10-12 years he's working in construction sector. So he goes to site, I mean, every day, and while coming back on site, he drinks or smokes to deal with the whatever issue he has. And he's a Maharashtrian, so मला माझ्या जिम मधलेच फ्रेंड आहे त्यांचे कोणीतरी नातेवाईक आहे. So he is now in a kind of a last stage. त्यांचं लिव्हर इतकं डॅमेज झालंय. सो हे जे क्विक स्ट्रेस रिलीफ जो आहे, आणि हा स्ट्रेस का वाढतो, काही ना काही तर असेल. आपण कुठे जिथे काम करायला जातो तिथे जर आपल्याला आता समजा प्रशांत थापे सरांनी मला म्हटलं, मॅडम तुम्ही हे बोलू नका, हे बोलू नका, हे बोलू नका, तर त्यांनी त्या डॉक्टर सचिनला म्हटलं की तुम्ही हे कशाला म्हटलं, तुम्हाला एवढंच बोलायला सांगितलं होतं. ओके, ही नेव्हर डिड दॅट, इट हॅपन नेव्हर डिड, ते कधीच रिस्ट्रिक्ट करत नाही. सो आय फील सायकोलॉजिकली सेफ टू वर्क विथ हिम or to work with OHR team. Okay, and they are very open आणि आयडियाज डिस्कस होतात त्यांच्याकडे. पण हे मला इतर कुठल्या प्लॅटफॉर्मवर दिसत नाही. सो दिस प्लॅटफॉर्म आय वुड से इज सायकोलॉजिकली सेफ, अँड दॅट इज हाऊ पीपल लाईक टू अशा ठिकाणी लोकांना जायला आवडतं. आणि समजा अशा ठिकाणं नसतील तर काय होतं, तर पीपल जस्ट दे स्ट्रेस देमसेल्फ, they are not happy, they just come in, do their work and go back. So there is no extra effort as such. Or like you recently must have heard about quiet quitting. इतने पैसे में इतनाच मिलेगा, एवढा पैसा देतोय ना, तर मग तुम्ही मला जास्ती माझ्याकडून अपेक्षा करायची नाही, कारण तुम्ही ऑलरेडी मला त्रास देता, तर मी एवढंच काम करणार, कदाचित मी त्यात कंची पण मारणार, आणि I won't be delivering you the quality part. I will not be motivated to do the extra work. Even I can create nuisance in the workplace because I am not happy, because workplace is not treating me well. Workplace is not treating me fairly. Okay, so these are the things which are there. And even if the workplace environment in terms of people management is good, but still, like I have mentioned in my book, there are hazards, occupational hazards, especially emotional hazards, which are product of your job, what you daily do. Like for Mr. Like Dr. Sachin, he is in healthcare sector, so this is high risk job, emotionally high risk. Okay, if you are in software programming or if you deal with machines a lot, then you are not having that kind of emotional labor daily. But there are jobs where a lot of people interaction is involved, like HR or police, traffic police, you say. There is a lot of people interaction, and whenever there is a people interaction, you will experience emotional labor in that proportion. And if the emotional labor is high in your job, then there is a high chance you will easily burn out, or you will burn out soon, or you may develop other diseases, lifestyle related diseases, very soon. So are we good so far, all of us? Please respond.
Absolutely, ma'am. We are 32 of us. So if anybody has questions or
Excuse
any
me.
point.
Somebody raised voice.
Yeah, Roshna Jende, Dr. Roshna Jende here. Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Roshma, you can start your video also while speaking,
okay.
if connectivity permits us.
Yes. Hello. So,
Yeah.
as an HR, I have a question. I am working with the manufacturing sector. So, I do have employees like welder, fitter, technical fitter, helper. So, they are going through the same. Like the managers in the manufacturing sectors, managers do a lot of things which creates the mental health issue for the people, the juniors. So as an HR, I do have a question. Like as an HR, how to like understand that particular, how to sense that particular things, and how to make the balance in that case.
So, Miss Jhende, if you have seen the content of the course we are offering through OHR, like psychological safety in the workplace, we are specially targeting managers, because even if you have a counselor in the workplace, counselor generally they are clinical psychologists. Okay, they are not organizational psychologists. They don't understand the job profile or whatever job related stresses are there. So if you train managers in psychological safety, they are in a much better position to behave, basically not to give stress to people. So people will be less stressful. And of course, if people are experiencing something because of even their personal life, they are in a better position to help them. So that is why this whole whatever we are trying to do here is for managers, supervisors, team leaders, that they should understand that their behavior is making workplaces psychologically unsafe. And as we all know, we leave our managers, we don't leave companies. If your manager is good, then of course you can bear with lot of things.
That is what my question. As an HR, I need to make the balance between manager and the team. I do have a few managers who are like working with my industry since last 15 to 20 years. They are not updated with the technology. There is a generation gap. Thing is that there is a generation gap. The candidate which I'm trying to get on a board, they are a helper. They are 21, 22. They have just completed their ITI and everything. But they don't understand that updated technology. The manager don't understand. So I need to make the balance. But I need to sense how my new team members are working with that managers, how they are well with their mental health. So as an HR, what kind of practices I need to implement, I need to do with them?
Please send them to the workshop. Whatever workshop we are arranging, psychological safety in the workplace, and this particular session is to create awareness on that workshop only. And it is, I mean, I am trying to, create awareness and train the managers so they can handle their teams in a better manner to prevent burnout, to make, psychologically safe workplaces. And if there is something happening, for example, addiction. So addiction is purely a mental health condition. It's not a bad habit. And most people don't understand की गुटखा खातोय का किंवा दारू पितोय. जसं मी आता कन्स्ट्रक्शन इंजिनियरची केस सांगितली, तर ते 37 वर्षाचे आहे फक्त आणि त्यांचं लिव्हर पूर्ण डॅमेज झालंय. पण त्यांना हे समजावून जर कोणी आधी सांगितलं असतं की तुम्हाला रात्री घरी आल्यावर तुमचा तो दिवसभराचा इफ यू आर ओव्हरवेल्मिंग, इफ यू आर फीलिंग ओव्हरवेल्म, then there are another ways to deal with your stress, workplace stress. Okay, so understanding the job profile, that's why there is emphasis on job safety analysis. So whatever job you do, there are hazards associated with it. To understand those hazards, to work on them, try to prevent them, and if there are some effects, side effects, then how to correct them. बेसिकली अवेअरनेस करता हा वर्कशॉप आहे आणि आम्ही मॅनेजर्स लोकांसाठी HR आणि जे लाईन मॅनेजर्स आहेत त्यांच्यावरच फोकस केला आहे.
I need to understand, like I just get the book. I have not gone through your book. Sorry for the same. Today itself, I just came across that you have written a book on that. So how that book will be available to me if I want to get that book?
You can take my number from Prashant Ithape sir.
Okay.
So that we can manage. Book, I can send it to you. That is not a problem.
Okay. And I'll get the profile also for arranging the workshop in my organization, because I understand, like, what I found is that I need to have that particular discussion in my organization.
Yes.
Roshna, I have given in chat. You can go through the chat, and that phone numbers and everything is there. You can contact me. Then we can take this subject matter.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And for those 21, 22 years old ITI, employees, it's an Instagram generation. They have, they had been raised in Instagram era. Okay, so they are totally different. Even for people like us, like Sukruti is there. She may be also from Instagram generation. So to understand them, they have a different challenge. Generation Z, who are born between 1995 to 1995 to like 2016, I guess 2015. So they are all Generation Z. They have a different challenges in the workplace, and now we are in a workplace where we have people who are born in 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and also 2000. Okay, so every generation has so one rule for all is not possible, and especially this generation is responsible for quite quitting and great resignation phenomena also in last 2 years. So थोडासा विचारपूर्वक गोष्टी करायच्या आहे. पहिले जसं होतं, आले लोक आणि इंजिनियर झाले आणि लगेच पास आउट होऊन आले डिप्लोमा होल्डर शॉप फ्लोअरवर, तसं आता नाहीये. दॅट इज नॉट इवन द केस विथ IT companies also, because everything is different, and to understand them we have to understand the behavioral part. So
Absolutely, ma'am.
I
Thank you,
hope
Roshni.
I'm clear.
Yeah, definitely. I'll arrange one workshop with my managers, because what I found is that emotional intelligence and emotional well-being and health is a major issues in my current organization. So I need to take care of that thing as a manager. So I just found that the attrition rate is much because of the same. In the last 6 months, I have hired so many people as an ITI, and most of them are like, I'm losing the people, great people. So definitely,
that is everywhere.
Yeah. No, but still, why I'm losing that, they are facing the challenges regarding the health, the mental issue. Like, I have taken the exit interview of the candidates. They're like, the managers are not understanding us. So as you rightly said, that there is a gap. That the new generation is Instagram generation. So we need to understand the need of that generation. We need to understand the psychology of that generation if we want to get the productivity from them. So definitely.
Someone, if you know someone recently, he's a head of some startup. He's from my hometown, Nagpur, and he is like around 34, 35. So he wrote on LinkedIn that these new people, like 21, 22, they should work initially 18 hours per day for first 5 years. Okay, 18 hours per day. असं कोण काम करतं? Even we didn't do. I mean, I have been working since 2006. June 2006. I never did like not more than 10 hours of work, and I have worked with multinationals, and I had team to handle since beginning. But मी स्वतः इतकं काम केलं नाही, मी दुसऱ्या कोणाला करू पण दिलं नाही. तुम्ही इतकं काम करायची काय गरज आहे? बाकी गोष्टी आहेत जगामध्ये. And then of course, he had lot of so he faced backlash. No, the person who quoted this on LinkedIn, he faced backlash. Okay, and there are so many articles which are coming that is it necessary to work 18 hours? I mean, did you also work? मी असते तर मी पहिल्यांदा म्हटलं असतं की तू तरी इतके वेळ काम केलं का? आणि ती त्यावेळेला, I mean, when we started working like 2005, 2006, there was no Google as such. And Google, this is Google. So things are easy. There are more tools with us, communication खूप fast झाला आहे. तर इतकं काम करायची गरज नाही. You have to do smart work. Okay, and you can finish it in 8 to 9 hours. why to say 18 hours? Come on. हे जरा ज्यादा आहे publicity stunt. पण this happened recently, last week मध्येच झाला आहे.
Okay.
Thank you, Roshni.
Very much.
Session is taking quite a very interesting turn.
Any more questions? Please feel free. Marathi, Hindi, English, any language will do for me.
If there are no any questions, so you can go ahead with your session, doctor.
Okay, so there are couple of recent incidents where Virat Kohli, who is who used to lead Indian cricket team, also spoke about his own mental health issues. So it's about the loneliness he had faced and the continuous. I mean, he had to strive for perfection. So personally, I don't like him, and the way he behaves, or I never like him, but the way he expressed himself that I am experiencing these issues, continuous work, so it's kind of maybe burnout, and so he took a break and he did something whatever was needed. तर हे जे सतत काम करण्याचं जे आपलं वेळ आहे की सतत काम करत राहा, हे म्हणजे यू आर नॉट लिडिंग अ बॅलन्स लाईफ. You don't have anything to do with your free time. That's why you are in workplace. You don't have a relationship. You don't have hobbies. You're not looking after your health. And most important is the sleep part. So how you plan your day, including your work, including your recreation, and including your sleep. So there is 8 by 8, 8, 8 into 8 into 8. So you divide your 24 hours into 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of recreation, or whatever you do. That is your time. That is not happening. So everything is, so your work life is because of COVID also. And after COVID, there is all of us, we are experiencing PTSD in various intensity. So PTSD is something when you experience trauma and you kind of once the trauma is over, you are not in your full capacity to work. So most of us during COVID we have experienced lot of things. कोणाच्याकडे मृत्यू झाले अकाली, कोणाच्या नोकऱ्या गेल्यात, कोणाला खूप काम करावं लागलं. We were in social isolation. So तो एक issue होता, तो एक challenge होता. So we were not in our natural self. Okay, so that, and now things are coming back to normal. But it's been there for 2 years आणि आपल्या सगळ्यांनी विचित्र गोष्टी अनुभवल्या आहेत 2 वर्षामध्ये. So the trauma is something, it takes time to heal. So Dr. Sachin is also there, he can speak about it more in detail. But now the workplaces are expecting people to work in a full capacity like nothing happened in last 2 years. की काहीच झालं नाहीये, तुम्हाला जसं 2019 मध्ये होतं तसंच काम करायचंय, तुम्हाला तशीच प्रोडक्टिव्हिटी द्यायची. Is it possible? No. I mean, things have affected, all of us have experienced lot of emotional issues in last 2 years, whether we accept or we deny, but we have. And that is what is great resignation and quiet quitting. These things are happening because people are they have gone through a lot. आणि जेव्हा आपण असं खूप काहीतरी मृत्यू झाले आहेत आणि इतक्या गोष्टी, फायनान्शियल क्रायसिस झाले लोकांना, त्याच्यानंतर आपण भीतीखालीच जगत होतो. वी वर लिव्हिंग अंडर अ फिअर ऑफ डेथ, ऑल ऑफ अस. होईल का कोरोना, होईल का. कोरोना होऊन गेल्यानंतरही काही काही लोकांना वर्ष लागलं त्याच्यातून निघायला. आय हॅव एक्सपिरियन्स कोरोना रिसेंटली, आय नो इट्स हार्ड. सो बट पीपल आर नॉट अंडरस्टँडिंग. म्हणजे मी ज्या ऑर्गनायझेशन मध्ये काम करत होते मी आत्ताच जॉब सोडलाय जुलैमध्ये. So I left that organization. It was an IT firm, startup होती शिकागो बेस्ड. So they asked me to do a presentation on my 5th day of corona infection. So I was corona infected, and they had asked me to do a quarterly presentation. Imagine, I had taken a leave 2 weeks, and then I resigned. Why would I stay with the organization which is not even understanding the seriousness of my corona? And I had submitted the certificates also. I had infection for more than 10 days. Was it a psychologically safe workplace? No. So this is my experience. I'm sure all of you must have gone through directly, indirect, some kind of experiences. So post-corona workplaces should rethink about their culture, and especially they should think about the psychological safety in the workplace. Dr. Sachin, do you like to add any recent numbers on the public health part and the workplace connection?
Yes, Dr. Vishali, thank you. So I think based on the conversation which happened right now, even Madam spoke about, I think what you spoke about is very important, that some kind of a course or a multi-pronged approach is very necessary for addressing psychosocial hazards. Either you increase the coping ability, as you have mentioned, through a course, or you look at the working conditions, because different working, like manufacturing, as Madam said, or the IT sector has different kind of a working conditions. And these lead to actually different kind of healthcare hazards, as you have put in your book. Some people lead to a lot of anxiety, depression. Some, like a police work, leads to loneliness. Some would lead to a lot of physical disorders, for example, diabetes, etc., because they have a sedentary lifestyle. They have to tend to eat more. So I think looking at all these interactions and doing a job safety analysis, as you mentioned, is very important. The PTSD aspect you mentioned is very, very significant, because as you mentioned in your personal thing, that you had COVID, and I don't know why it's still very funny that people are either repressing it, or people think that are in denial that we are still in a pandemic. Or maybe the impact is lessened down. But I think for you to face a situation where somebody is asking you to do a presentation, I think there needs to be some kind of a mental hygiene, or some kind of mental training, or some awareness training which needs to be done for the organization. Because trying to expect somebody who has suffered from any illness, whether it's an acute illness or somebody has a chronic illness, despite the pandemic, where the pandemic has showed that if you are healthy, then you can work. If you're not healthy, then all the economic activities come to a halt. So I think it needs some kind of a refresher course, or some kind of a orientation. I think because of the pandemic, these things were also before the pandemic, but I think maybe we were repressing them, or maybe our economic activity was so important that we didn't consider our physical and mental health important. And as you rightly gave an example, maybe you can work for 18 hours a day, but then you should be ready by your 30s to have a lot of NCDs, which are non-communicable diseases. And maybe one will not live a very healthy life. Because I've seen those people who are very glorified. So people say that मैंने सुबह के 4 बजे तक काम किया, मैं 4 बजे पर्यंत काम केला, and then I came back to work at 8 o'clock. But a loss of sleep, as you rightly mentioned. So there's a person like Matthew Walker who has written a book on sleep. Sleep is a very important aspect to restore all your functions. And if you don't, a study has rightly also said right now that lack of sleep is also a cancer-causing agent. So if you are doing your night shift, if you have a lack of sleep, it can push you towards certain diseases, because your entire restorative mechanism has not kicked into action. So I think all those points which you have mentioned are important, because as you rightly said, if you do $1 of prevention, so as you go higher in the ladder, suppose you go to a secondary stage where you already have a disease, you have maybe diabetes, heart disease, a lot of anxiety, depression, or insomnia, you need to spend more money to actually come back to a normal level. So if an organization, as you were mentioning, can do something preventive, or look at policies which actually complement people's health, I think this is an opportunity where people can do that, because you have seen a pandemic, people are more open to it. And this concept of working very hard, where you have a lot of smart devices available right now. So maybe 20 years back, when you didn't have technologies so much in our thing, working hard would make sense. And but you can also work hard and work smart, as you rightly mentioned, because ultimately, if you push your boundaries, then something is going to get impacted, either your family life or your health. And then you only have to decide what compromise you want to make in that sense. So statistically, again, I'll say that 60 lakh deaths are happening NCDs, even I think more. We have a large number of suicides in the country. And to bring it back to you, as you rightly mentioned, suicide is just not a psychological thing. It's also a lot of sectors which are operating, your workspace environment. Maybe your work environment is not very friendly with you, so you go into isolation, you have loneliness, you start smoking, drinking. So a lot of interactions are happening between your work environment and what eventually develops over a long period of time. So I think all these conditions can be addressed if you're psychologically safe at work, and if the organization is open to this kind of a mental first aid, or maybe maybe saying that I think we need more places where people can cope better, or which we talk about self-care. But you can only do some amount of self-care. If your organization is really bad, then you can't keep doing yoga, meditation, and keep coming back to normal. Your working conditions also have to change a little bit. And as you rightly mentioned, if there is a generation gap where people have a certain way of working, there is some amount of breaking of the chain required, because that emotional exhaustion is happening for everybody, as you rightly mentioned, because of COVID. And that everybody needs to be aware of that. We need to actually take care of all these factors.
Thank you, Doctor. So, like Ms. Jende, she mentioned about the generational gap. So, I mean, there has to be an awareness of, this whole social media thing also, and how it is impacting our social fabric. Because the way Generation Z behaves, especially in a relationship, and they are someone who are, I mean, their parents have done a lot of things for them. They are not in a need to build a new house because their parents did it. They don't want to buy a car because their parents had already purchased it for them. They are not EMI generation like our generation or the previous generation. So, but our ego, like this particular CEO mentioned about 18 hours, grilling. Every day you should work 18 hours. So yes, we did. We had a kind of a harder way of working in offices, or we were not lucky to have comfortable workplaces like today's generation is, and we had to accept the fact. We can't say that since I used to work in early 2000 for 18 hours in 2022, I mean, that's our ego. आपला अहंकार मध्ये येतो बोलायला की आम्ही करायचो, आमच्यासोबत रॅगिंग झालाय ना, मग तुमच्यासोबत पण झालंच पाहिजे. So this is what is happening now in workplaces. It's okay, no? They have a different life. They have a different, perspective towards life. So त्यांना त्यांचं लाईफ जगू द्या, and we have to really change or refine our workplaces, to suit all. And we can't force people, because most of the time it is I have seen managers' pride comes in, or supervisor pride comes in. He wants to have a control, or she wants to have a control over the team, and there is nothing to worry about the output or productivity, but it's just the ego which plays the role in whole mess, like 18 hours of work and all. So, glorifying that kind of a culture, and there is, sharp increase in this narcissism also in last few years. There are self-help books. You should be, entrepreneur, and you should be a star performer and everything. Can everybody do that? We have to ask ourselves. No. There is always a bell-shaped curve which is in motion, which is in action. There are very few people who have those kind of abilities, or they are blessed with something. Most of us are average. Okay, so we need to work 8 to 10 hours a day, not more than that. But some people can't even do that, who are not that capable. And some people, yes, like Elon Musk, they are special breed of people. So if everyone works as a Elon Musk, what will happen to workplaces? 18 hours. This is a sensible thought. I mean, people should think about it. How can everyone can be Elon Musk? Even I don't want to be. आम्हाला म्हटलं कोणी सचिन तेंडुलकर हो, विराट कोहली हो, म्हटलं नाही, मी जशी आहे तशीच ठीक आहे. No. The people are copy pasting things. That's one, sad part about it. They're simply copy pasting whatever they see on internet. They just get motivated. Today also I spoke to someone. He came for coaching, one-on-one coaching with me. And he is with IT. And I, madam, मला तर motivational workshop करायचा आहे म्हणे. मला एवढं एवढं करायचं आहे. Live your life, whatever pace you are in, you can, go up to certain level. But जे नाहीच आहे ते कुठून येणार आहे तुमच्यामध्ये? Like I said, not everyone can be Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. And I mean, possible पण नाहीये ते. But this unrealistic expectation about life, glorified by media, glorified by the people around us, that is leading to these, extra pressure on people, or even the confusion in their mind. की मला हे सगळं हवं आहे. नाही आपल्याला, so we have to decide our priorities, what I want to do in my life. I'm set. I need my 8 hours of sleep. I can't go. When my last company was a US-based company, so I told them, but they still used to have calls till 10:30, 11 o'clock because CEO used to sit in Chicago, and I used to report to CEO. So तुम्हाला करायलाच पाहिजे. I told him, boss, I'm not going to work like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I go to sleep by 9:30. So I stop my work by 8:30. But these are things. So the person who is in leadership role has to understand. That is why this training, when leaders will understand, when managers, team leads, supervisors will understand what is required and how they should plan the work, how should they behave in a team, or understand or manage their team, things will start changing because they are the one who are in position. Because if they continue the toxic culture, and no matter what kind of EAP, like employee assistance program, you provide to your employees, counseling you provide, but you go back to the same toxic culture, which is not helpful. So managers, supervisors, team leaders, they should know what is mean by psychological safety in the workplace. Questions, please. आपल्याकडे बरेच लोक आहेत कारण.
यस मैम, डिलीवरी एनीवन आस्क, मेरे को आपको पूछना था कि जैसे आपने बोला कि मीडिया की वजह से इतना फास्ट सक्सेस जो रेस चल रहा है कि जल्दी जल्दी लेना है, तो अभी मेंटल प्रेशर आ गया. एक बार इंस्टाग्राम खोलेंगे ना हम, तो द सेम पर्सन इज अचीविंग समथिंग एंड ग्लोरीफाइंग, दैट्स गुड फॉर देम, बट इवन वी वांट टू अचीव देम, सो वी अल्टीमेटली फॉल इन दैट रेस. हमको भी करना है, जल्दी जल्दी करना है. So in that way, we tend to lose a lot of sleep, and stress is always there. Everybody is achieving, will be left behind.
But that achievement is also fake. So Instagram Reels, and the thing behind Instagram Reels, right? So there is an industry which is going, in making fake stars on Instagram.
Okay.
They live fake life. Okay. There are Instagram influencers, and there are documentaries. There is a social dilemma on Netflix. Then there is also one on Instagram, influencers. So you should watch them, both of them. And what is happening earlier, when even in before Facebook age, we had a limited access. I mean, I met Dr. Sachin Ganorkar on Twitter. Otherwise I would have never met him. Okay, so that what is happening due to social media, we have access to so many things and so many people, unknown people, and on unconscious level we start to compare with them. Not only you, we also compare. Even Dr. Sachin must have experienced that. We start comparing ourselves, and no matter whatever you do, you always feel low when you see LinkedIn, when everyone is successful. When you see Instagram, everyone is happy. When you Facebook, everyone is celebrating. Only you are the one who is not. So that is the psychology they use, and that is how they earn money, because that's why they are in billions. So they have already you can say our social fabric is completely
false one.
Yes, it's falling apart. I mean, we are no more social as we used to be. We generally compare ourselves with people, and we end up in jealousy. We don't have empathy and all those things. उसको क्या हो रहा है सामने वाले को, अपने को पता नहीं है सच्ची में. Now what I'm talking to you, you don't know what today I felt little bit of dizziness because of the spondylitis, you know, slight dizziness. And then I checked with my trainer, what is happening with me. He said, are you working a lot on computer? I said, yes, I'm working. I'm doing some courses. So I'm working and using the computer a lot. So he said, because earlier it was not there 1 week before, but I had headache and, some dizziness throughout the day. But here you may feel, ma'am is so happy and she's enjoying the success and she has a lot of things. मेरा दिन अच्छा नहीं गया आज का. So you never know, or you cannot know about a person unless you
Background story.
The screen doesn't give you any kind of information about the person, and that is what happening sadly with the new generation, that they think everyone is happier than them.
Accept it.
Not true.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
Okay. So
प्रतिभा माने तुमचा आवाज येत नाहीये. प्रतिभा माने तुमचा आवाज ब्रेक होतोय. आता येतोय.
Yeah. So good evening all, and hello Dr. Vishali and Dr. Sachin. So I'm working in the HR from last 15 to 20 years. And I would first, I'm really happy to hear from you on the psychological safety of the, workmen at the workplace. So this is something amazing. As you said, that one way to develop the awareness in particularly the leaders or the managers is attending workshops. So that's very true. But it would be like one-time activity for the managers. I mean, they would attend the workshop and they would percolate the practices in their teams. But as an HR professionals, I mean, are there any other solution? I would say other ways to implement small things in the workplaces, because it's not possible. Maybe the managers would come to a workshop, so that is one thing, or they get awareness. But as an HR professional, can we have some small practices that we can add, or we can conduct something? Because now in even in the MNCs we have that culture of like sharing culture and all of that, but even that don't happen, I mean, actually speaking. So it's like 18 hours work and 12 hours work, you said. So can you say something on that?
See, I have tried to include, most of the things in this workshop, but I always mention that wellness or well-being or emotional well-being in the workplace is a continuous activity. So this is something can create psychological safety, awareness on psychological safety in the workplace. But there are activities which should be done on regular basis. So if you see wellness program or well-being program in other countries, so they are generally designed for 5 years. So let me tell you my background very quickly. I had worked with Siemens Industry Software before I published my book and all. So I was in a special role which was created, and I used to report to VP, the business head. And I had a chance to implement my PhD, which is about well-being of IT professionals. So what we used to do, I did it for 4.5 years. We used to conduct stress survey, psychometric assessment, and based on those stress survey results, I used to provide the wellness activities, and I used to arrange the wellness activities. So I did everything. So this is, I'm talking about 2016, 17, 18, and 19. Where nobody even thought about what is depression in the workplace. So in 2017 itself, I had invited clinical psychologists to talk about depression. Then personally, I used to conduct a lot of sessions, especially on the sleep, emotional intelligence, then stress management. And there were special programs for managers because they had a different kind of lifestyle. There were a lot of there were physiotherapists also. In the in-house physiotherapist, I used to invite. But this was something I did on experimental basis. I never thought that this would come a long way where I'm currently standing. But this kind of activities should be provided by the organization. And this is basically not HR stuff. This is what people like me, we do. These are wellness program or employee assistance program, and there should be a special post of well-being officer or wellness officer who will take care of all these activities in any organization. So, and it should be ongoing. It's not a one time activity. It should be ongoing. See, आपल्याला पहिलं स्टेप घ्यायला त्याला towards his or her physical and mental well-being, आपल्याला पहिलं त्याला एक पाऊल उचलायला मदत करायची, or first few steps. Once we make them understand that, so we can offer few classes free, we can offer few sessions free initially. Once employees get hold of it, that no, this walking like 10,000 steps per day is helping me, so you create that kind of a mindset. That is what I did in Siemens. And you at one have problem काय Indian workplaces मध्ये, we are really lazy about taking care of our physical health. We are really lazy. मी बघायची, म्हणजे I used to get funding from a US office, and they had this diversity council and they used to fund. So I used to get $4,000 every year. Not a joke. Okay. So imagine $4,000 for 4 years. I did so many things, but the response from people were so low. I mean, they used to love parties, alcohol parties, but they were hesitant to come down for a Pilates batch. And we had excellent, I mean, in Siemens, they have an excellent yoga room. If you go sometime, you will see the best in town, one of the best in town for Siemens PLM office, बाणे. पण लोक यायचे नाही. मग काय करायचं? त्यांना वेगवेगळे आमिष दाखवा की आम्ही हे करू, किंवा तुमच्या काही पॉइंट्स परफॉर्मन्स मध्ये ऍड करूया. इफ so there are companies in Europe who are giving some extra bonus points to employees who are sleeping 8 hours per day, sincerely 8 तास झोपणं, because if your employee is sleep deprived, he or she is stressed. He or she will make more mistakes. He or she will indulge in unethical practices. Gossiping होईल जास्ती, चुका होतील. They'll do lot of basically they will end up in lot of not so good things. So having sleep, and they will be vulnerable to addiction. So having people in your team who are sleep deprived, you are risking your team. So जे झोपत नाही त्यांना खूप प्रॉब्लेम्स होतात, आणि पूर्वी हे कळायचं नाही. But there are so many things which are available on the internet. There are so many books by experts from Harvard and Stanford. You can easily read the research. Encourage people to sleep. And how to encourage them? Please plan their work schedule. तुम्ही स्वतःचं पण वर्क शेड्यूल नीट प्लॅन करा, म्हणजे लोकांना त्रास होणार नाही, आणि लोक शांतपणे त्यांचं they can enjoy the family time and they can peacefully go back to sleep. Somebody who is basically who is sleep deprived is not a happy person. तो काही देणार नाही तुम्हाला, not to anyone. He'll creep, he'll complain, he'll do gossiping, he'll make mistakes. So, and we are sleep deprived nation, by the way. Japan is number 1, and then India, because there is a huge data available on sleep deprivation of Indians. And that's why the whatever the diseases, lifestyle diseases we are having, diabetes and obesity and mental health issues also. So these are ongoing activities. I hope I could answer your question. These are ongoing activities. It's not a one-time activity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. And the one insight you shared, I mean, giving the bonus points on the enough sleep and all, I think that is really fantastic, I mean, to hear. Unfortunately, here in India, I mean, since the culture of the Indian culture, and we generally have incentives on extra working and all of that. I mean, we appreciate that. But this is something very new. I mean, it's something new insight. I mean, even for the organization also, like they are like giving the bonus points on enough sleeps. I think this is amazing to hear also. I mean, so that's great. Thank you for sharing, ma'am.
Yes, this is in my book also. You can read my book, and you will find a lot of other things which might be surprising for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pratibha ma'am. Thank you, Vishali ma'am. Are there any more questions for the evening?
We can take last question because already it is 8:10 and today is weekend also.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Please,
I really
please
enjoyed.
tell your name. Yeah, then yeah.
Yeah, my name is Dilip More. I am from General Manager Agio Pharmaceuticals Limited.
Okay,
I
Dilip,
really
yeah.
enjoyed the knowledge sharing session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dilip sir. I guess those were the questions for the evening. And with this, we thank all, and there's one announcement to be made. I know everybody loved today's session. Thank you, Vishali ma'am. Thank you, Sachin sir. So, to continue this session, there will be another session at Kalasagar Hotel, Pimpri, which will be a half-day paid program. The workshop that where many more benefits will be shared, the learning methods will be shared to coping up and everything. So if you are interested, please connect with Prashanti Tape sir. He had shared his number in the chat box and he'll share you further details of the program. Itape sir, can you please come forward for the announcement?
Yeah. See, as a OHR, we are here from last 8 years. And we are going to celebrate now our 9th anniversary, either in the month of November or December. It will depend on speaker and all other availability of hall and other things. So on account of that 9th anniversary, we are also declared our 2 awards. This is our 6th year of award. We are having outstanding upcoming HR professional award of the year 2021-2022. It is for below 40 age of HR professional award. So that also I have declared on WhatsApp groups and all digital media. So you can participate in that award, and that person will be felicitated at our 9th anniversary. This award we are giving from last 6 years. And second award we are having outstanding HR professional award, that is above 40, but that is nominated by our OHR trustee board, because basically they are all senior HR professional. They don't want to go through this selection process. So we only identify exceptional HR professionals and we give them award. It is not necessary if we find that nobody is there, so we are not going to declare also. Last year also we have done same thing. We have given only below 40 award, because there were many people, they have participated in that award, and there is a separate selection process. Separate selection committee is there, and they take interview and everything, and then they declare that award. But it is not only giving for sake of giving award, not like that. So I request all to participate in that award if you are eligible for that award. Already I have declared on all WhatsApp groups and Facebook and LinkedIn everywhere. That was the 2 announcement from my side. I think now we are at the end of the session. Really, it was a very good session. I will say good beginning, because this is totally a new subject matter. We have taken till date more than 100 knowledge sharing sessions. This is 102 knowledge sharing session. From the inception, religiously we are taking this knowledge sharing session. Whether there is COVID or not, we are taking offline or online, but we are taking this. So thank you, Dr. Ushali Raut, for this wonderful presentation. And special thanks to Dr. Sachin, because it was a surprise.
Thank you, sir. I think I
ते
should
म्हणतात
thank
ना
Dr.
सर की सोनारानेच कान टोचले पाहिजे, तसं आहे ते. तर आम्ही HR चे लोकांनी किती सांगितलं किंवा सायकोलॉजिकल सेफ्टी, तर आवर सिनियर्स दे डोंट गिव्ह दॅट मच अटेन्शन टू दॅट. ते म्हणतात पहिले लाईन चालवा तुम्ही.
Sir, they are giving the product safety, not a human safety.
Yeah. But there are many organizations. They are slowly now understanding this importance of this subject matter, and they are having some initiatives. But that these are very few. That's why we are at OHR. Yeah.
Sorry, this is Vivek Deshpande. I'm on traveling actually, connected through phone. I want to ask
Vivek.
one question. If it is okay?
Yeah. No issue. That is the main objective of today's session.
So nice of you. Rushali ma'am, we have been hearing for some time. Earlier, due to connection, we could not hear you. Just want to know about the process. In case there is nothing, just for the help of others also. If there is no present situation of like male nurse or visiting doctor to the location, can you give us little brief how we can go ahead about implementing the wellness? Because it's only the data with us is annual test which we do. One, it is as per the Factory Act, and it is only for the factories, not for the shop and other areas or IT. So that data is with us. Secondly, we have certain data of people who are on leave or they are mentioning in the leave application or software data is there. Third, we are aware of some people who are having some disease or who are suffering from heart problem, blood pressure, or any other things. So having this data in a distorted manner, so I would like you to give at least 5 minutes how we can at least start with this. This is my idea actually. I'm just clubbing this points. So with this and some past record, how we can start one roadmap. Can you give a skeleton how to go about with your experience so that we can start working on something, some ideas start working, and we make up some program. Maybe annually a fitness test is there. They will be given some little more marks or in a KRI, KPI that lowest of leave for the that location in sickness category. Second is on-time injuries are zero in a factory, they are awarded. Like those we can map up with, but these are some basic which is already existing issues are there. And how we can add up like yoga, pranayama, what you have said, we have heard, though the room is parted, everything is there, people do not take. But small initiative which probably can help. Yes, I believe it is a way to go, and within 1 year post pandemic also, with the examples we can take up that this has happened in past. So better take care of this under age category, under the particular health issue category, and then we can slowly pick up. I hope I conveyed what I wanted to say, and hope you understood. Is it same?
Hello, Vivek.
Yeah.
मला वाटतं तुम्ही प्रश्न पण विचारला आणि त्याचं थोडक्यात उत्तर पण दिलंय.
मी दिलंय, त्यांना विचारतो आहे की एक छोटा आम्हाला तुम्ही गायडन्स स्टेप वाईज कसं देऊ शकता, आणि दिलं ते त्यांच्या अनुभवावरचं दिलंय. पण आता मी सगळ्यांच्या वतीने थोडेसे माझे पॉइंट क्लब करून त्यांना देतोय की याच्यावरून तुम्ही काही तुमच्या एक स्ट्रॅटेजिक किंवा एक छोटासा एक मॅप जर का आम्हाला दिला, तर या गोष्टींवर आता ऑलरेडी ज्या गोष्टी आहेत त्या सगळ्यांच्याच डोक्यात थोड्याशा असतील. कदाचित काहींना मी बोलल्यानंतर लक्षात आल्या असतील. तर त्या मॅडम याच्यावर थोडंसं आपल्याला एक मॅप करून देतील, ज्याच्याप्रमाणे आपण थोडं करू शकतो, आणि मे बी सम एक्सपर्ट हेल्प देन वी हॅव टू टेक.
So it is difficult to give a strategy for 1 year, any kind of program. In 5 minutes is unethical, I would say. त्याला justice होत नाही त्या गोष्टीला पूर्ण. So if you really want to do something, I can help you. You may contact or you may take my number from Mr. Ithape. आणि असं क्विक काही सोल्युशन सांगू शकत नाही. म्हणजे आय डोंट हॅव अ डेटा और आय डोंट हॅव एनिथिंग विथ, आणि मी ते करत पण नाही की क्विक सोल्युशन आणि नंतर त्याचा काही रिपरकशन त्याचे वेगळे झाले त्याच्यात इट्स व्हेरी डेंजरस. सो बेटर वी टॉक ऑफलाईन आणि आपण त्याच्यावर थोडं वेळ देऊन काम करू शकतो असं मला वाटतं.
So nice of you. I think that can help. Then you can send one design, small design or some PPT, couple of PPT, which probably प्रशांत साहेब पुढे सर्क्युलेट करू शकतील. But I appreciate. Thanks for your response. I'll be able to work on that. Thank you, Prashant.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, Sukriti.
Thank you, sir. Before going, I would like to put one point Roshali and Sachin said. Nowadays, companies are accepting mental health as a reason for leave as well. So if you put in leave, like I'm not feeling well today mentally, I'm depressed today, would like to take a leave on that. Nowadays they accept that as well. So the chain is getting broken, right?
Yes, yes. Yes, Ms. Chetri, I think it's a good start. So I think if people can recognize that people need some kind of a safe place, like how Dr. Vrishali mentioned, to actually take care of yourself and then get back to work, I think that's a very good initiative, because people actually don't allow you that, because the kind of industries we work in, it's based on improving your revenue or make the organization as profitable as possible. But the people who work for that profitability are not taken care of. If you go into the fundamentals of capitalism, which we can definitely discuss later, and if you read Dr. Vishali's book, where she speaks about social determinants of health and the Maslow's triad. So I think it's a very philosophical discussion, but it's a very good start if companies have started doing so. So I think, because looking at your social factors and trying to recover from something which you was is a very good step to get started. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Vishal. Thank you, Ms. Chitri.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr.
And with this, moving towards note of thanks, we would like to give a very big and huge thank you to Roshali ma'am and Sachin sir for giving us wonderful insight to this taboo-filled topic of psychology and in workplace as well. And thank you everyone for giving your wonderful time in your precious evening hour of weekend. So to announce once again, this session in a full length or in detail will be done as a half-day paid program in Kalasakar Hotel, Pimpri. So please contact to Prashant officer for further details. And thank you and have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you all.
Bye bye.
Yes, bye.